Alrighty, it looks like we are live. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I want to welcome you guys back here to the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for July 20th, 2020. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight. It is the second night of a doubleheader here on the podcast. We had Extreme Fools, the horror show. Yes, Extreme Fools, because WWE Creative are a bunch of idiots. Last night, Extreme Rules, we had the reaction stream and we had the review, two separate videos. I want to say thank you once again to everybody that came out and joined me on both of those videos last night. You guys are awesome. The support for the podcast, the support for the channel in general has been out the window these last couple of weeks. So thank you guys for everything once again. As you guys can see, usually on Monday nights, I'm at work filming the Raw review, but tonight I am home. I'm at my desk, got the camera, got the microphone all set. So you guys know I'm bringing you guys the best here on Monday night. So definitely, we are all ready for the review. Got my water here because we continue to go through this crazy heat wave here in the Boston area, man. It was 100 degrees yesterday, so I was dying. I was sweating up a storm here on the review. I didn't even want to put my AC on because it would have made noise, and I didn't want to, affect the listening experience for you guys. But it's a little bit cooler today, but it's still super hot. So I got a nice ice cold water here to help us get through the review. I don't know how long I'm gonna go tonight. I'm gonna try to keep it under an hour, but there's honestly a lot to talk about because now we are on the road to SummerSlam, and definitely tonight WWE as much WWE made the same mistake tonight that they made for Extreme Rules last night. Last night, Extreme Rules, you had some of the best in ring action of the year. Sasha Banks versus Asuka was on its way to being a Match of the Year candidate. You had freaking Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. I enjoyed the Swamp Fight as well. But most of the endings for those matches were just god awful. And tonight with Monday Night Raw, there was just logic gaps with some of the decisions that were made. And now I'm sitting here questioning, these decisions and these endings just like I was questioning them last night. And now, this is the worst time for WWE to be making these kinds of mistakes because we are 4 weeks away from SummerSlam, their second biggest pay per view of the year. And after what happened with WrestleMania, you should be trying to build this show to be better than WrestleMania was. Because, everything was so crazy about WrestleMania time, them having to make WrestleMania into a two-night show, because that was the beginning of the pandemic. You had no fans. You were just getting used to doing these Performance Center shows. But now they've been doing Performance Center shows since March. This has been going on now for 4 months. So you should have a feel of things. And since you've been doing pay-per-views out of the Performance Center now for nearly half a year, which is crazy to think about since we've been in this pandemic for so long, now the way I see it, you should have a much better feel for how you're supposed to be booking these shows, and you should have a plan already made for SummerSlam. I heard a couple weeks ago that they had a card made for SummerSlam and they ripped it up completely. They ripped up the script. So, and now the way I see it, I don't even know what to expect for SummerSlam. I don't know. I thought we were gonna get Andrade and Angel Garza challenging for the Raw Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits, but after tonight, you had that match tonight on Raw, and the Street Profits won clean. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do a triple threat between the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, and Andrade and Angel Garza? We'll talk about that. Sasha Banks and Asuka, the biggest thing for me, the two belts Banks controversy. We had Stephanie McMahon make an appearance tonight, and now we know the future of the Raw Women's Championship as that will be decided next week as we will get a rematch between Sasha and Asuka. And I'm going to go off on that just like I did last night for the Extreme Rules. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Drew McIntyre. We're hoping to get Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. But, before we can even get to SummerSlam, they're doing another match between Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. And I'm going to go off on that. I am very, very angry about how they went about that tonight. Seth Rollins, where does he go from here? You had that travesty with that horrific ending to the Eye for an Eye match. And most of these endings that you saw from Extreme Rules last night, they were changed by Vince McMahon last minute. So you guys know who to blame for WWE programming. This is all Vince McMahon. And that was obvious beforehand, but now we actually have confirmed proof that the endings we saw last night were all made by Vince McMahon last minute. So, and the thing is, Raw tonight was rewritten last minute. Like the taping for tonight's Monday Night Raw was supposed to begin about 1 o'clock p.m. this afternoon, and those tapings got delayed because they had to rewrite the script once again. I hate when Vince McMahon does that, and you can really see, because the logic gaps that are seen on this show, it's just absolutely horrific. This makes no sense. And this is the worst time to not be making sense with WWE programming. The viewership is already down to historic lows. You put Randy Orton and Big Show in your main event tonight. You basically spent the entire show advertising that match. During every single segment on Monday Night Raw, they kept advertising. You had Kristen show up to give a promo via satellite. You had both Randy Orton and Big Show give 5 minute sermons backstage. And the match was good. I'm not gonna lie. And I don't believe I'm actually saying that about a Big Show match in 2020. But the main event was good. But will it be enough to bring the viewership up? We see WWE's trying to do these things to make you tune in each and every single week, but the logic gaps are really hurting this company. And like I said, this is the worst time to be making mistakes like this because you are on the road to SummerSlam. You're supposed to be making SummerSlam to be a better card than WrestleMania. And right now, I'm pretty confused on where they're going. I really don't know. I want to give this show a thumbs up tonight, but the logic gaps are there, just like Extreme Rules last night. Too many logic gaps for me to say this was a good show. There was definitely things I enjoyed on the show, but the logic gaps just have me scratching my head like usual. I'm gonna look in the chat really quickly before we get into the review itself. Like I said, guys, if you guys are in the live stream or if you guys are watching this back via playback on demand, no matter how you guys are listening, please leave a like on the video. It helps me out a lot. It pushes the video into the recommended section. The Extreme Rules review is doing really well. We had close to almost 500 people in the stream last night. So thank you to everybody who came out last night to support. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it going. We're seeing more and more people subscribe. More and more people are tuning in each and every single week. So thank you guys for the love and the continued support. So if you guys are in the chat right now, please leave a like. I see we got Gamer Z, JQ James. Thank you. Thank you. JQ James says, "What's up, bro? I'm becoming a big fan of your work, man. Keep up the good content." Thank you, bro. I love seeing new subscribers. I love seeing new people in the chat. As much as I love seeing my old viewers like Sleeping Angels and, uh, what's his name? Jacob and uh, uh, Emily and Jessica, as much as I love seeing them in the chat, seeing them here every single week, it makes me even more happy to see new viewers coming to the channel because we want to keep growing. We don't want to stay stagnant. We want to get more eyes on the podcast so we can educate more people because there's too many casuals in this damn community. And you can really see that those casuals hurt the product because they accept this garbage. And you guys, that's why there's guys like me in this community because we ain't gonna accept the garbage that WWE gives us each and every single week. So I really appreciate it. But let's get into the Monday Night Raw review. As always, guys, make sure to put a like on the video if you guys enjoy. Also, subscribe. You guys are new to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me again tonight. You guys make my day. I love talking wrestling and other things with you guys. So if you guys are not following me on Twitter, the link is in the description down below. That is the easiest way to contact me if you guys want to talk about anything. I got some really cool stuff coming out. And one more time, if you guys didn't check out the Extreme Rules review, go check that out after watching this podcast. We went off last night. Definitely one of our best podcasts of the year. And we're just going to keep getting better as we continue to go through the summer and we enter the road to SummerSlam. So let me just take a quick sip of my cold water. And let's get into Monday Night Raw tonight. So the show started off. Hold up. I gotta get my notes from Bleacher Report. But the show started off with Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, and everyone's been talking about Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio, the eye for an eye match. And basically, what we heard is WWE had plans to do a CGI ending. They were gonna put CGI effects and all this other things to make it look like Rey Mysterio actually lost his eye. But let's be serious. We know Rey Mysterio didn't lose his eye last night. Maybe he got injured, and that's just the risk you take when you do a storyline like this. But there was reports that they did use some special makeup and things for Rey Mysterio's ending, but we never really got an actual visual. That's one thing that did make me angry. You advertised this for as an eye for an eye match, but you never really, showed us anything. Even if there was going to be CGI or not, you never showed us, any visual of what actually happened to Rey Mysterio's eye. Like, come on, you want us to watch, an eye for an eye match, but you're not gonna show us the eye actually being ripped out. No matter if it's fake or not, we deserve to get a visual. That's what you advertised. That's what people are paying to see. This was a pay-per-view, and you don't give us what you are making us pay for. This is one of my problems with WWE. They do this all the time. They advertise one thing and then they give you something completely different. It was put in the news that Vince McMahon was very unhappy with, how the original ending to the match. Originally, Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins was supposed to be pre-taped. Instead, it took place live on Extreme Rules, and it was a great match, but the ending was horrific. Seth Rollins fake vomiting in the corner was more horrific than Rey Mysterio actually getting his eye extracted. And it was revealed that Vince McMahon didn't like how the whole CGI looked, so instead they decided to go with the ending you saw last night, which was terrible. I wish we could have seen what the CGI ending would have actually looked like. Maybe, maybe it may get leaked, who knows? But I do hate how we didn't get to actually see the visual per storyline of Rey Mysterio getting his eye extracted. But it was reported by Tom Phillips, that basically he went on some little thing that Rey Mysterio suffered some nerve injury and he should be able to basically recover per storyline. There are reports also that Rey Mysterio could be staying with WWE. I don't know really what's going on with Rey Mysterio's contract situation. I believe that what they should have done is have Rey Mysterio fight for Dominic. It should have been Dominic versus Seth Rollins, but instead WWE went this direction, and still it just didn't make any sense to me. But Seth Rollins came out, so Seth comes out, and he has Buddy Murphy alongside with him, and basically, uh, he explained his actions were driven by the WWE universe, and this was a fantastic promo. I am not gonna lie. Seth went in saying, Rey Mysterio was the one who made the stipulation for this match. And Seth said he knew what an eye for an eye meant, but seeing what happened was much more than what he expected. And this was a fantastic promo. Seth talked about how it was the WWE universe who drove him to become the Monday Night Messiah, to become the man they see today, this monster that they're calling him. And I like this, even though we all know that it was WWE that messed up because Seth Rollins was supposed to be the face of the company. After he won the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania last year, we were all behind him, and WWE fucked up his title run. They had him going up against Baron Corbin, and they had all this other nonsense. They had him winning the Raw Tag Team Championships with Braun Strowman. Garbage. Even though the match between Strowman and Rollins was great, but the feud was garbage. The story was garbage, and we can't forget what happened at Hell in a Cell. That dreadful Hell in a Cell match between Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt. Terrible. It was WWE that messed up, Seth Rollins. Yes, the fans did have a role in it, but it's 80%. 80% of this is all on WWE management and WWE creative and Vince McMahon. All right, but I did love the promo by Seth Rollins. I still don't understand what the hell this guy means by the greater good. It never makes sense to me. He's still going on about this whole greater good thing, but still, And then Seth's going on. He's like, he wants to look to the future. I did say on the Extreme Rules review last night that what would probably make sense, because I don't want to see Seth versus KO again. I love KO, but we've already seen it. So I don't want to see Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens again. I said on the review that would make sense for them to go in the direction of Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. And it looks like that's how they're actually going. My only problem here is we've seen Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black before. Not as much as we've seen Seth Rollins versus KO, but we've already seen it. We've seen tag team matches, no matter if it was Seth Rollins and KO. I mean, no matter if it was Seth Rollins and Murphy, or Seth Rollins and Austin Theory, or Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory going up against the combination of Black and Mysterio, or Black and Humberto, or some nonsense like that. I really wish that they would have kept Aleister Black and Seth Rollins apart, because that would have made this feud so much more better. Because I love Aleister Black, and I like what Rollins has done with this heel character, even though the way WWE writes him sometimes doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know what the greater good is. But I really wish they had kept, Aleister Black and Rollins apart over the last couple of months. It would have made this feud much more fresh, and it would have been a perfect setup for Black and Rollins at SummerSlam. So we see Black come out, and Aleister Black stating that Rollins would have no absolution from his Gilly. I don't know. The way Bleacher Report writes here is a little bit weird. But Black also said that Rollins had nobody else to blame but himself, and now he would have to pay the consequences for his actions. So we see Black, he comes down, he takes out Buddy Murphy before the match, but then we come back, Murphy is recovered, and we have the match between Rollins and Black. This was a really good match, even though I could tell they weren't going, full force. Definitely they were saving something in the tank. But we see Rollins get the win here. This was a really good match. But Rollins hit like two super kicks. Then he was able to get a stomp, or the curb stomp, whatever you want to call it, and he gets the victory. Afterwards, as Rollins and Murphy are walking up the ramp, Rollins turns around and decides to attack Black after the bell. So then for the next 2-3 minutes, we have Black on the other hand of a vicious beatdown from Rollins and Murphy. He gets thrown into the plexiglass, thrown into the barricade, the steel steps, and the ring post, and the announce table. And Rollins and Murphy were focusing on Black's hand, and Black did a amazing job selling here, amazing job selling. And it got to the point where Seth did a curb stomp on Black's hand. So it seems like Black now has an injured hand per storyline, and that's going to take, or at least it should take him out for the next couple weeks. Like I said, I like this. My only problem is we've seen Black and Rollins a lot during this pandemic, no matter if it was one-on-one or tag team action. This would be perfect for SummerSlam if we hadn't seen it so many times before. The way they're probably going to do it here, unless they go back to doing Seth versus KO, which I don't want to see, what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to have Black come back right before SummerSlam, and then we'll have a match between Black and Seth at SummerSlam, with Black trying to get his revenge. Um, Looking in the chat real quick, JQ James says, yes, after Hell in a Cell, I totally lost all interest in Seth Rollins. I completely agree with you, bro. They messed up there. I see my friend Eric in the chat. Good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Eric in the chat. I appreciate the positive comments. Upgrading the quality here, trying to give you guys the best looking presentation here for the Monday Night Raw reviews. But like I said, Rollins and Black would be perfect if they hadn't given to us so many times before. So, like I said, if you guys are in the chat, make sure to leave a like on the video. It really helps me out, and it puts the video out into the recommended section if you guys haven't already. They spent the first hour of Monday Night Raw basically on two segments, focusing on Rollins and Black, and focusing on the Hurt Business versus Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and a returning superstar, which I'm actually excited about, man. Because Bruce finally went out and found a missing superstar, and we'll talk about that in just a sec. So backstage, we had Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons was there tonight. We didn't get to see him say his famous "damn" line tonight, but Ron Simmons, he was backstage talking to MVP and Bobby Lashley. He was also talking to what's his name, the Viking Raiders, and I was like, why is Ron Simmons there? Especially in this time when we're in a pandemic, you got to be careful having older legends there, right? And the only thing that was coming on my mind was maybe they're setting up something with Randy Orton and Ron Simmons, which wouldn't make sense. But of course, Randy Orton being the legend killer, taking out all these legends, things like that. But it doesn't make sense in my opinion. Ron Simmons was nowhere to be found. It's like they just brought him in there randomly. There was no explanation. I hate that. It's like WWE's insulting your intelligence. Like, why is Ron Simmons there? He's talking to, the younger talent, giving them advice, but, he had no role on the show tonight. It made no sense. But anyway, we have MVP, and, you guys know I talked about this on the Extreme Rules review. Apollo Crews, he tested positive for the coronavirus. That's the reason why we haven't seen him on WWE TV. He's not medically cleared yet. And basically, MVP is still walking around with the new United States champion, and we see him and Bobby Lashley, and then our truth walks up to MVP and Bobby Lashley, and then MVP ex- uh, invited our truth, or not. Well, he didn't specifically invite our truth. He invited the 24/7 champion, who was our truth at that moment, to come to him to the ring. But our truth, he accepted at first, but then he said no because he knows that Bobby Lashley will probably put him in the full Nelson once again. But out of nowhere, we see Shelton Benjamin attack our truth from behind. Then a referee appears. Shelton Benjamin pins our truth to become the new 24/7 champion. We'll see how long that lasts. But it was good to see Shelton Benjamin. And it's revealed here that Shelton Benjamin is joining the MVP stable along with Bobby Lashley. So Shelton Benjamin is the new member of the Hurt Business. And I'm actually think that's good. Shelton Benjamin has been stuck in catering for so long, and I hate that. The guy's very talented. He's one of the more athletic superstars on the Raw roster. And I know that Shelton Benjamin is an older superstar, but definitely he can be used in a really good way. I really think you can use him, and definitely putting him in the MVP stable. I think that is a brilliant move. I actually like this stable with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. The only problem I have with it is MVP wrestling. I say this almost every single week. MVP is great as a manager, as a stable leader, but in the ring, nobody wants to see MVP in the ring in 2020. Nobody does. Like, let's just be honest. All right. But we see MVP, Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. They come out, and MVP basically was gloating about how Apollo Crews is no longer the true United States champion, even though officially, Apollo Crews is still the U.S. champion, but he's dealing with the whole coronavirus situation. So I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of people are predicting that we will be getting MVP versus Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam, but I don't know if that's going to happen because they still need to get MVP versus Apollo Crews out of the way. So I don't know. But anyway, we see Cedric Alexander and Ricochet come out, and basically, I kind of like this. I like how Ricochet and Alexander are in this, little feud with MVP and Bobby Lashley. Gives them something to do, and you need it. You need tag teams anyway. Like you only have three teams right now. AOP is still injured. You have the Street Profits. You have Angel Garza and Andrade, and you have the Viking Raiders. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander are a fourth team. If you want a team, MVP and Bobby Lashley every once in a while, hey, you actually have somewhat of a tag team division. I'm not going to say it's a good tag team division, but you have somewhat of a division. It's better than nothing, right? And like I always say here, if you're not going to use superstars in singles roles, put them in the tag team division, and that goes for all the tag teams because tag team wrestling in WWE has never been as bad as it is right now. the best tag team division in WWE is the women's tag team division, with Sasha and Bailey carrying the women's division like they are right now. But anyway, Alexander and Ricochet come out. They, MVP. Lastly, Ricochet and Alexander, they're trading blows with one another, and it is revealed that this is going to turn into a six-man tag. And at first, I thought it was going to be R-Truth, joining Ricochet and Alexander to try to get payback on the attack from Benjamin earlier. But no, it is the reveal of Mustafa Ali. Yes, Mustafa Ali has returned to WWE, and I am so happy. So happy. And I see Sleeping Angels in the chat. We'll talk about Sasha in a little bit. Don't you worry. But I gotta get through all this other stuff first. But Mustafa Ali is back. And I have been bitching and moaning about this for how many months, guys? Mustafa Ali is back. We haven't seen him wrestle since I think it was February. February when he was challenging Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC Championship. Back before this whole pandemic started. And I've been complaining for weeks during the SmackDown reviews that we need Ali. Like, where is he? It was revealed. I knew that Ali was being used as the hacker, and Mustafa Ali did ask to be traded to Monday Night Raw because he knew Paul Heyman would use him better. This was before Heyman got fired. But hey, Bruce finally found Mustafa Ali. Thank you. Oh, I don't know why I'm making that symbol, but thank you. Thank you so much because Mustafa Ali, he is one of the best in the entire main roster. He is so underrated. He has the charisma. He can talk on the mic. He's amazing in the ring. And the fact that they weren't using him, it baffles me. He could be a main event star. I would have much rather they kept him on SmackDown because SmackDown needs as many main roster players as they can right now. But it's good to see that at least he's being used, and I hope this isn't like a 2-3 week thing. Mustafa Ali needs to be on TV every single week. He can make a really good mid card competitor, fighting up there for the United States Championship. Like I said, WWE has so much talent, especially on the Monday Night Raw division. Just look at the mid card. Even though I don't want to see MVP, in the ring, you have MVP, you got Bobby Lashley, you have Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, Kevin Owens, Garza, Andrade. You have so many names, Aleister Black, so many names. Hell, Buddy Murphy, Austin Theory. That mid card division is absolutely stacked. Apollo Cruz. I just have names keep coming up in my mind. You have so many names uh inside that mid card division, and you're not using them. You should be using this time during this pandemic era to build new stars, and they're not doing it correctly. Hopefully, now WWE realizes the talent they have, because that mid card division could be like the best division in the entire company with the talent that they have. But I'm so happy to see Mustafa Ali back. We transitioned into a six-man tag. This was actually a really good tag team match. Bobby Lashley and Ricochet have really good chemistry. Mustafa Ali being back, Cedric Alexander sold really well. This was a fun tag team match. The Hurt Business isolated and dominated Alexander and Ricochet for most of the match. Ali got the hot tag, of course. I honestly thought that Shelton Benjamin would be taking the pin here just because MVP, Lashley's not going to take the pin. And MVP, you're booking him as the unofficial United States champion. So why would he be taking the pin? But the faces took Lashley out of the ring via double team. Ali hit a beautiful corner neck breaker and then hit the 450 splash. I'm missing him do that move. It is so beautiful. Hits the 450 splash on MVP for the win. So if MVP was the official United States champion, this would basically grant Ali a future title shot. But since Apollo is still the official champ, I guess I understand why this doesn't really hurt MVP that much. So this was a good six-man tag. Hopefully WWE realizes that they have the talent for a really good mid-card division. Really good. So hopefully we see Ali continue this role. I want to see him built up on Monday Night Raw. Definitely. Because if Paul Heyman was running the show, Ali would probably be in contention for the WWE Championship. That's how good Ali is. Moving on, we had Christian. Christian showed up and he did a basically a Skype call. He was at home. I don't know. WWE, they have these superstars do these call-ins, these Skype interviews, and I don't know. These WWE superstars have all the money in the world, and they can't get a decent camera. Like I have a way better camera than these WWE superstars. Like Kristen had a webcam and it was not good. That thing looked like it was in 480p. It was lagging, and the guy was using headphones for his microphone. It was not good at all. So basically, Christian cut a promo saying that he was still recovering for the effects or from the effects of the Randy Orton punt kick. He said that he would never have the same respect for Randy Orton or Ric Flair, and he was basically cheering for Big Show to teach Randy Orton a lesson there tonight. So, like I said, they spent this entire show, building up Randy Orton and the Big Show, like every single segment. And the match was good, and we'll talk about it once we get to the main event a little bit later in the podcast. But Randy Orton had another great backstage promo. And after what they did with Drew McIntyre tonight, which I am going to go off on once we get there later on in the podcast, Randy Orton needs to become the WWE champion. I love Drew McIntyre, but you know they need to take that title off him. Maybe when we get back to live crowds, we can get the title back on Drew McIntyre, and he can finally get that big title win. That big moment he didn't get to have at WrestleMania. In front of live fans. But after tonight, I am convinced I need Randy Orton as the WWE champion. And Randy Orton's just performing and executing on a totally another level right now. He is outside of Sasha Banks and Bailey. He is the best thing on the main roster. But moving on, Big Show also had a promo tonight, and it was a really good promo by Big Show. I just didn't care. Big Show was talking about his history with Randy Orton and why he had, the get payback here tonight. He talked about some Tiger and how, he was the old Tiger in this match, and how even if Randy Orton was going to take him out tonight, he was not going to let Randy Orton end his story. So a really good promo by Big Show tonight. I just wish I cared. I don't care about anything you do with the Big Show in 2020. Go do your Netflix. I don't want to see you on TV. Just giving my honest opinion, guys. Backstage, we had Bianca Belair. So Bianca Belair on TV 2 weeks in a row. She was asked, "What can the WWE Universe expect from Bianca Belair going forward?" And Bianca basically went in, she has that amazing charisma. And last week, if you guys didn't check out the Monday Night Raw review I did last week, I told you guys how Bianca Belair should be built up to become the next Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania next year. I don't know. Okay, I'll say this. I still think that should happen. I believe Bianca Belair should be built up to win the Women's Royal Rumble next year and become the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania. But with this whole situation with Sasha Banks and Asuka, the timeline of events is a little messed up because I have no idea what's the plans now for Sasha Banks at SummerSlam. Either Sasha's going to be fighting for the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown Women's Championship. After tonight, I have no idea if they're still even planning the Sasha Banks and Bailey match for SummerSlam, if they're going to delay that breakup, so I don't know, but we'll talk about Sasha Banks a little bit later on. But either way, I believe personally that Bianca Belair should become the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania next year. And they need to build her up because she has all the tools to be just as big, if not even a bigger star than Sasha Banks, even though, Sasha will always be my number one. But either way, we see Ruby Riott and Peyton Royce. Billy Kay was not there tonight, thank God, because Billy Kay sucks. Peyton Royce is not terrible. Peyton Royce is actually decent in the ring, but Billy Kay is awful. She makes Lacey Evans look like a good wrestler, but basically, Peyton said something about Liv Morgan. Ruby got pissed. I know that they want to, bring back Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan as a tag team, but don't insult my intelligence. It was just a couple months ago that Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan hated each other. Like, at least try to explain to me a little bit how Ruby and Liv were able to get back on the same page. It just looks so weird to see Ruby now defending Liv Morgan again. But we came back from break, and I didn't watch this match 'cause I just didn't care really. Ruby did win with a ride kick, so she's getting those wins back. I think this was Ruby's first singles win on WWE TV all year. I think last time I checked, Ruby was 0 for 12 this year in matches. So Ruby Wyatt, she won the tag team match with Bianca last week, and she beat Peyton Royce. So good for her. Like I said, I would love to see Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan built up in the women's tag team division. But I know Liv Morgan. I think she's still recovering or still in quarantine because I explained this last week. Um, Liv and Sonya and a bunch of other WWE female superstars were on a boat with Lana and Rusev, and then Lana's parents were on the boat and they tested positive for the coronavirus. So those superstars that are on the boat are in quarantine. So hopefully we see Liv Morgan back, and hopefully they can build up Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. I would not be mad if they eventually, had Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott win the Women's Tag Team Championships from Sasha and Bailey, but that's a little bit later down the line. We still need to see what the hell is happening with Sasha Banks and Bailey because I still have no idea where they're going on with that. But you know, Ruby Riott gets a win. That's all you need to know. Moving on. This is when, oh my god, this is when the logic gaps start coming into play. This is when I'm just like, what the hell are we doing? It was announced tonight that we would be getting a non-title match between the Street Profits and the Angel Garza and Andrade. Excuse me. Before the match, we saw the Street Profits actually attack Garza and Andrade backstage. This would lead into the match when we cut back from break. But here's what I'm thinking. Why is WWE giving away pay-per-view matches on free television? It's like the same thing that we've been seeing, with Matt Riddle facing AJ Styles. Aren't you barely have any teams on Monday Night Raw? Basically, I thought you had Angel Garza and Andrade beat the Viking Raiders last week, which would basically make them the number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. So why aren't we seeing this match built up for SummerSlam? If you did something like, I don't know, Garza going up against Dawkins or Ford 101, that's different. But you actually gave away this match tonight for free, and it was a good match. But it makes no sense. Why? Do you have something completely different planned? Are you like planning on bringing up like the Undisputed Era to challenge the Street Profits? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, and I said this at the beginning of the podcast, maybe they're playing a triple threat match. Maybe they have the Viking Raiders go up against the Street Profits, going up against Garza and Andrade. Because we saw the Garza and Andrade get involved in the unsanctioned match with Orton and Big Show. So I don't know. But it's just a logic gap here. It was a good match, and it was good to see the Street Profits back on Raw. Like I said, the Street Profits are a really good tag team. I hate, and I forgot to also mention this. Freaking Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton mentioned this as well. And I always say this: Byron Saxton sucks. Someone on Twitter tonight was like, "Oh, love when Saxton dances along with the Street Profits." No, no. The person was like, "We must protect Byron Saxton at all costs." No, we don't. Byron Saxton is the worst commentator on WWE TV outside of Tom Phillips. Those two are clowns. If it wasn't for Samoa Joe being there as the third commentator, I would be ripping my ears out listening to Saxon and Phillips. They suck. Saxon doesn't know how to dress. I love Craig Sager, but rest in peace. But Byron Saxon is the Craig Sager of WWE. Did you guys see Saxon's suits tonight? First off, last night, Saxon wore this awful Barney suit, purple and green, terrible. And then tonight he doubled down wearing blue and orange. Who dresses Saxon, man? The guy sucks. Plus, he's terrible at his job. I could do a better job commentating behind this microphone every single week on the podcast than Saxon does on Raw. Like, did you guys see me in the live reaction stream last night commentating over Sasha Banks and Asuka? They should be hiring me. Saxon's awful. So please. Anyway, I just had to go on that mini rant really quick. Sorry, guys, but no, I had to give you guys a little bit of entertainment here. But the Street Profits, you know, I hate it when WWE, the Street Profits are entertaining, but they spend all this time. And WWE said tonight that the Street Profits, in the 4-year history of the Raw Tag Team Championships, they are the longest reigning Raw Tag Team Champions. So they won those championship belts back in February. Now we're in July. First off, I'm surprised that they held the belts that long. But when you look at how Monday Night Raw has no teams, but it kind of makes sense. But also, stop acting like that's some kind of achievement. Yes, it'll go down in history that they're the longest reigning Raw Tag Team Champions, but the Raw Tag Team Championships have been booked like complete dog shit for the last 4 years. At least on SmackDown, you've had some decent tag team matches. You've had the New Day, you've had the Usos, American Alpha. Remember the Bludgeon Brothers? You've actually had some really good matches. I can't think of I can't think of any good matches that the Raw Tag Team Championships have had. Maybe the Bar and the New Day, but that's about it. That's really about it. The Raw Tag Team Championships have been booked like garbage. Garbage. You given those belts to teams that never deserved it. Remember, I said this earlier, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman? Hell, you had Braun Strowman and Nicholas. Remember this from WrestleMania 34, guys? You had Braun Strowman and Nicholas, a 10-year-old kid, win the Raw Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania a couple years back. That makes my argument and my point all together. The Raw Tag Team Championships in their 4-year history have been booked like dog shit. They've been booked like the worst Tag Team Championship belts in all of WWE. Terrible. So it's not really a big achievement that the Street Profits are the longest reigning Raw Tag Team Champions. And also, here's another thing. Who have the Street Profits faced? Let's be serious. They faced against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, who should have never been Raw Tag Team Champions to begin with. It should have been AOP before AOP got injured. But still, they faced Garza and Austin Theory when Austin Theory was part of the Zelina Vega staple. They faced and actually they didn't face anybody else. You spent the last 2-3 months with that freaking Viking Raiders. Anything you can do, we can do better. Storyline. For the last 2 months, the Street Profits didn't even defend the Raw Tag Team Championships. So please, Tom Phillips, man, don't go coming out here saying that nonsense. Oh, Street Profits are the longest rating Raw Tag Team Champions of all time. Complete and utter nonsense. Pure garbage. Pure garbage. I hate it. I hate it. So, anyway, this was a good match. It was. The Street Profits win clean, which I'm not against the decision. You guys know how I work. No matter who it is, if you are a champion, the only time you should be losing is if by a fuck finish, right? Or if you're losing the championship. If you're dropping the belt to the next championship holder. So the Street Profits should be winning. But, now, I know you don't have many teams in the Raw Tag Team division, but Garza and Andrade lost clean. And I know it wasn't a Tag Team Championship match, but, they have really no argument for getting another Raw Tag Team title shot. They lost clean. There was no, Garza and Andrade showing tension. There was nothing. There was no fuck finish. There was no controversy. The Street Profits won clean. Montez Ford won with his beautiful frog splash. That was it. That was it. So unless we're getting the triple threat match at SummerSlam, it really doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense for the Andrade and Garza to get in their match. Makes no sense in that regard. But Backstage, Zelina was angry with her two clients, and basically, they were like, "You guys messed up your opportunity to get a shot at the Raw Tag Team Championships." But Garza and Andrade were confident. They did interfere into the with the Big Show and Randy Orton match later on, but still, they shouldn't be getting another tag team championship opportunity unless, I guess, if it's a triple threat match at SummerSlam with the Viking Raiders. But still, logic gap, huge logic gap. All right, guys. So now it's the time you guys have been waiting for, the Raw Women's Championship situation. I went off on this last night at Extreme Rules because you guys know how passionate I am, especially when it comes to Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is the unofficial Raw Women's Champion. We all saw the controversy last night. She didn't officially win the belt. Sasha comes out with Bailey, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful seeing Sasha hold up the Raw Women's Championship, but I noticed one detail right away. And even though, after the podcast last night, WWE did put on their website that Asuka was still the Raw Women's Champion, you know, well, well, kind of. It still had her listed as the champion because Sasha never officially won the belt because of Bailey's antics. But I noticed right away when Sasha made her entrance, she had the Raw Women's Championship, but it still had Asuka's side plates. It didn't have Sasha's legit boss side plates. It still had Asuka's side plates. I noticed that right away. So Sasha, is still unofficially the Raw Women's Champion. So at least I can't get mad because you guys know I went off. I thought we were gonna get Sasha Banks and Asuka tonight. I thought we were gonna get that match tonight, and I would have been a lot more angry, you know, if Sasha had won the belt and she had, lost the belt again tonight. Because you guys know how much I get mad when I have to bring up the point that Sasha lost to Alexa Bliss, and only had an 8-day title reign way back in 2018, or was no 2017. My bad. So if Sasha had officially been crowned champ and she had gotten a 24-hour championship reign, I would have came out and absolutely ripped this show to shreds. All right, ripped. Right now you guys see I'm at more of a calm matter because the way they explained it tonight, actually makes sense, but still. So basically, Sasha bragged about winning the Raw Women's Championship, and the belt looks so good on her. And I know Sasha has a new wig because you guys should know Sasha doesn't. Sasha has natural black hair. She wears a wig on WWE TV. WWE does a good job making it look real, but she wears a wig. But yes, and JQ James says in the chat, I'm getting the feeling that Shayna Baszler is going to play a huge part next week in the Asuka and Sasha Banks match, especially from what we heard from Shayna tonight. I was going to bring that up. You're getting a little ahead of me, but yes, I will bring up Shayna in just a second. But Sasha was bragging about being Raw Women's Champion. Bailey was glad to hype her up. Sasha brought up how Asuka, the only reason why she was Raw Women's Champion was because Becky handed her the belt because, Becky got pregnant. Becky was on maternity leave. Even though, it kind of made sense in a way what Sasha was saying, but I'm like, yeah, but that was like 3 months ago. 3 months ago. Asuka's been champion for, the entire summer. She defended that belt against Nia Jackson and Charlotte. So Asuka's already validated herself being Raw Women's Champion. So I didn't really like that line too much. But Sasha did bring up that, Asuka, even though Bailey got involved in the match, so did Kairi Sane. Asuka or Kairi Sane was the one that gave Asuka the green mist. Gave Asuka the green mist, and Asuka shot it in the referee's face. So if anything, yes, Bailey got involved, but Asuka's the one that put this on the motion. She's the one that sprayed the green mist in the ref's face. You know what I mean? So if anything, this is all the blame on Asuka because Asuka tried to cheat as well. You know, but basically, Sasha said basically Bailey borrowed the referee shirt because someone had to make the count. And like I said, if a second referee had just came out, none of this controversy would have ever been put into play. Nobody would be complaining. But Stephanie McMahon showed up on the screen, and I got pissed. What? I didn't get pissed because we had to see Stephanie. I was like, why didn't we see this last night? Stephanie McMahon showed up via the Titantron. She was at home. She wasn't there. But why didn't Stephanie appear on screen last night? Logic gap. Why did they wait till tonight to have Stephanie McMahon? This would have made so much more sense if they had Stephanie appear last night. But anyway, Stephanie showed up on the Titantron, and she congratulated Sasha and Bailey on being tag champions, and there was a funny moment of Sasha and Bailey, you know, uh, clapping their belts together. And then Stephanie congratulated Bailey on being SmackDown Women's Champion, but she said that Sasha was not the Raw Women's Champion. But she also said that Asuka did not win her match either. So Stephanie didn't declare Asuka as the rightful champion. But she did say that next week there would be a title rematch. I thought we would get the rematch tonight, but they wanted the focus to be on Randy Orton and Big Show, which I understand. But I'm going to be honest, as much as I love the visual of Sasha Banks being two belts Banks, and also, we did get Bayley and Kyrie Sane, which we're about to talk about, and the visual of Sasha holding all the championship gold. She had both tag team championships and the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship belts, man. The visual looks absolutely beautiful because Sasha is the best female wrestler in the world. That's the first time I've said that tonight. But I just hate Sasha holding onto a championship that's not hers. The belt still has Asuka's side plates. I just hate it. I hate it. Because if this was Charlotte or somebody else, I would be going off. The belt looks so great on Sasha, but it's not hers. And I hate how we have to wait till next week now. It's going to give people a reason to watch next week because Sasha Banks and Asuka was on its way to being a match of the year candidate last night at Extreme Rules. But, now we have to wait till next week to find out if Sasha's actually going to be the official Raw Women's Champion. They gave a very interesting stipulation for this match. Like I said, there's many different directions they can go with this. It was revealed that Vince McMahon was the one that decided to go with that ending last night, which makes sense because Vince McMahon is so out of touch. Like, you really think Sasha would ever take an ending like that? No, it was Vince McMahon. The guy's an idiot. Like I said, he's out of touch. He needs to go. First, you do that terrible Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio ending, and then you do Sasha Banks and Asuka wrong. Come on. The logic gaps. Anyway, it's revealed that for the Sasha Banks and Asuka rematch next week, the title can change hands via pinfall, submission, and DQ. So if Shayna Baszler or Bayley or anybody gets involved next week, the title could change hands. So if Bayley gets involved on part of Sasha Banks, Asuka will be the Raw Women's Champion. If, let's say, Shayna Baszler interferes and gets the match thrown out, Sasha could win the championship. So we don't really have an idea what's gonna happen next week. So definitely, if it's me, if I'm WWE, what I would do, I would give a Sasha versus Asuka next week in the last 30 to 40 minutes of Raw, because you're gonna have commercials, right? Most of the last hour of Raw should be Sasha versus Asuka. If you're asking me, that match was so good last night. Let them redo what they did last night at Extreme Rules. Give them all the time in the world because you're gonna have commercials. So 30, 40 minutes, the last 30 or 40 minutes of Raw should be dedicated just to Sasha and Asuka. Let them go tear down the house once again. Sasha has been carrying the women's division since this pandemic started. Now, when you look at things, now I don't know how you should really do it. I want Sasha to be the Raw Women's Champion, and I would love for them to do Sasha versus Bayley at SummerSlam for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships in a winner-take-all situation. But now I don't know what's going to do. I have no idea what they're going to do because now you have Shayna Baszler now in the whole situation. So we had Bayley versus Kyrie Sane. Sasha had all four belts at ringside, which was like I said, it was a beautiful shot. This was it was announced that this was Kyrie Sane's last match in WWE on Twitter tonight, which I don't know if that's true, but that's what everybody is saying. So I'm gonna assume that's the case, right? So Shayna Baszler was watching backstage, and she said she was interested in the match because she deserves to be to have a match on Raw. Shayna was like, "I've beaten everybody in the Raw Women's division almost, and still I'm not booked on the show every single week." So she definitely was interested. And I know Shayna Baszler was on Raw Talk tonight, so definitely I'm gonna, I'm not gonna watch Raw Talk, but I'm definitely gonna see, Shayna said anything interesting about maybe Oscar or Sasha, maybe to give us a clue of what's gonna happen. Because if this was Kyrie Sane's last match, remember, they teased on Raw Talk last week that Kyrie Sane wanted to challenge Asuka after Asuka was done with Sasha. But if this was Kyrie Sane's last match, clearly that's not going to happen anymore. Even though it would be great to see Kyrie's last match against Asuka at SummerSlam, but it looks like the plans are changing. It's like WWE has no idea where they want to go with this whole situation. I, I, I don't know, to be honest, guys. You know, so basically, I'll talk about Sasha and Asuka. Let's just get through this. So basically, this was really good, really good. Bailey, like I said, when Bailey has the right opponent in the ring, if it's like a Sasha or an Asuka or a Nikki Cross like last night, Kyrie Sane tonight, when Bailey has the right opponent in the ring, she is fantastic. Sasha can put on a 5-star classic with anybody. You know, Bailey's great, even though I don't think Bailey's as good as Sasha, but Bailey and Kyrie Sane tore down the house tonight. Uh, Kyrie Sane hit the insane elbow, but Bailey kicked out. Then Bailey, basically anything you could do, I can do better. Bailey did the Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop. Sane kicked out. Bailey went for the Bailey the belly. Kyrie Sane reversed it into a beautiful roll up and got the clean victory. At first, when I first saw this on Twitter, I wanted to bitch and moan because I was like, "What the hell?" Bailey, you've booked Bailey as the most dominant SmackDown Women's Champion in history. There was no fuck finish. Sasha didn't get involved. Asuka didn't get involved. This was a clean match. Kyrie Sane won clean. At first, I was gonna get mad. I was like, what the hell? Especially if this is Kyrie Sane's last match, why would you have her win? Because basically that would, validate Kyrie Sane getting a future SmackDown Women's Championship opportunity. But if this is Kyrie Sane's last match, I guess this is WWE saying, okay, Kyrie Sane, we appreciate everything you've done. And I love Kyrie Sane. She's great. We appreciate everything you've done, Kyrie. And definitely if you want to come back, because I definitely think, Kyrie's going back to Japan to be with her husband if things get back to normal anytime soon. Maybe next year, Kyrie Sane could return to WWE. So I think Kyrie and WWE wanted to end on good terms, and that's why they did what they did tonight. So for tonight only, I hate when champions lose, but for tonight only, I will give them a pass on this. All right, great match. Now, Sasha Banks and Asuka. Like I said, Sasha and Asuka should get 30 to 40 minutes next week on Monday Night Raw. Most of the third hour of Monday Night Raw should be dedicated just to those two. All right. Now, what do you do about the ending? I don't. There's so many different directions you can go with this, right? If anybody, the stipulation is you got to win by pinfall or submission, but if anybody interferes, the title could change hands. So if Bailey interferes, I could say Kyrie Sane, but if we are to go by what we saw tonight, Kyrie Sane won't be there next week, because this is supposed to be Kyrie's last match. But if Bailey interferes on Sasha's behalf, Sasha will lose. If somebody interferes on Asuka's behalf, Sasha becomes champion officially. So I don't know where you go here. I love both these women, but the Shayna Baszler factor. I would love to see a Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler feud, but Sasha would have to be the babyface. You still haven't done that. Sasha and Bailey are still together as a heel duo. I don't want to see a heel Sasha versus a heel Shayna at SummerSlam. If you turn Sasha babyface, fine, but if you're not gonna do that, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. The way I'm gonna give my prediction right now, as much as I want to see two belts bank, This is what I think is going to happen. I think Bailey is going to interfere some way, somehow, and going to cause Sasha Banks the match, and that's going to lead to Sasha Banks and Bailey finally, breaking up, and us getting Sasha versus Bailey, Sasha being the babyface against Bailey at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That makes the most sense because you have nobody lined up on SmackDown to face Bailey. We don't want to see Bailey versus Cross again, even though they had a great match last night. Don't want to see Bailey versus Bliss or Lacey Evans or Naomi. No, none of that. If it's not Bailey versus Sasha Banks, then Bailey shouldn't be defending the title at all. You know, the only way I would take Shayna versus Sasha is if, Sasha was a babyface. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense to have Sasha versus Shayna. Clearly, because Shayna's a heel, Sasha's a heel right now. Unless you turn Sasha babyface. So I don't know what you do there. There's many different outcomes you can do here. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen. Asuka may win via fuck finish. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with the prediction right now. I think Asuka's gonna win. As much as I want to see Sasha as two belts bank, I'm gonna go with the prediction right now that Asuka will win. Because Shayna Baszler. I think it's gonna be Shayna versus Asuka at SummerSlam, especially if Kyrie's not gonna be there and they're not going with Kyrie versus Asuka. I think the most logical would be for Bailey to somehow get involved, cost Sasha the match. That leads to Sasha and Bailey breaking up and feuding over the SmackDown Women's Championship, and us getting Asuka versus Shayna for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. Even though I would love to see Sasha be the Raw Women's Champion and go up against Bailey in a winner take all match, I just don't see that happening. If it does, I'll be happy, but we'll just have to wait till next week to see how WWE does it. All right, so that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you guys have any other creative ways that they could book this match next week, let me know. But that's the way I see as the most logical option. Bailey costing Sasha the match, leading to Sasha versus Bailey, and then Asuka getting attacked by Shayna after the match, leading us to Asuka versus Shayna at SummerSlam. That's the way I think it's gonna happen. This pissed me off, man. Oh my goodness, man. Oh, you have. We all know what it should be at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. It should be Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. That makes the most logical sense. All right, that should make the most logical sense. But it seems like just to give Drew McIntyre to do something over the next couple weeks. I still don't understand why they're doing this. All right, I don't know if they're trying to get a spark in the ratings or what. So McIntyre came out. He talked about how Dolph Ziggler made the smart move with the stipulation, but he still lost. And Drew said this is the story of Dolph's career, which we all can agree with. As good as Dolph Ziggler is, he's a loser. He's a loser. And basically, McIntyre said that he was moving on to more worthy challengers for SummerSlam. He said SummerSlam is the biggest show after WrestleMania, and he wanted a worthy challenger. The only guy that fits that description right now is Randy Orton, because we know Lesnar's not coming back for SummerSlam. Excuse me, guys. But then Dolph Ziggler comes out, and I was like, no, they're really not doing this. Ziggler comes out demanding another shot. And at first, Drew was super smart. Drew's like, no. After last night, after you losing last night, you really deserve another WWE Championship? Like, I ranted on this last night. There is no excuse. I don't care. Even though it was predictable that McIntyre was going to win. We all knew it. Per storyline, there was no excuse that Ziggler should have lost last night. It was a normal match for Drew. It was an Extreme Rules match for Dolph. Dolph could do whatever he wanted. He could take a freaking machete and chop Drew's legs off, and it would be viewed as legal. There was no excuse per storyline for Dolph Ziggler to lose last night. And I said it on the podcast, for as long as Dolph is in WWE, after last night, he should not be getting another WWE Championship opportunity. What does WWE do? Third straight segment with a logic gap. Third straight segment with a logic gap. Ziggler demands another WWE Championship opportunity. McIntyre says no. And I was like, all right, yes. Walk away, Drew. Please. Anyway, McIntyre is walking up the ramp. Ziggler calls McIntyre a son of a bitch. McIntyre turns around like, huh? What did you just call me? And then Ziggler's like, yeah, you turn around and look at me when I'm talking to you. And I'm just like, oh no. Ziggler's baiting McIntyre into another match. And then Ziggler tries to cheap shot McIntyre. McIntyre knocks him down with a headbutt. And then McIntyre, like an idiot, accepted. Ziggler said McIntyre could pick any stipulation he wanted. And McIntyre said, okay. And then Ziggler said, what's the stipulation? And then McIntyre said, I don't know. But I'm going to do the same thing that you did. I'm going to wait until right before the bell rings to tell you the stipulation. And even though this was a good segment, right? I don't know what stipulation McIntyre is going to choose. But man, this makes McIntyre look like an idiot. It really does. I don't care what the stipulation is. It could be Ziggler is blindfolded or has to wrestle with two hands behind his back. I don't care if McIntyre is playing it smart, waiting, to make Ziggler find out what the stipulation is going to be. I don't care. I don't. How stupid does McIntyre look? Ziggler had the deck stacked. The deck was stacked. After last night, there is no way on earth that you can convince me that Ziggler deserves another WWE Championship opportunity. Ziggler can go on to win his next 1,000 singles matches. I don't care. Ziggler should not be getting another WWE Championship match for the rest of his career. I don't care. You can't convince me otherwise. But instead, McIntyre, like an idiot, just because he gets to pick the stipulation and Ziggler called him a son of a bitch, McIntyre baited. McIntyre got baited and accepted the match. I do not care. McIntyre looks like an idiot. And I lost some respect for him. For the most part, McIntyre has been booked like a good WWE champion. But man, does he look retarded. There's no way you can convince me otherwise that Ziggler deserves another WWE championship. I don't care if they're trying to give us filler. We all know that Ziggler is not winning the belt. This is how you're trying to gain viewers? This is how you're trying to gain ratings? If anything, you should have just had McIntyre come out and cut a promo about how he's looking for a WWE champion or a WWE championship challenger for SummerSlam. And that would be it. I would have been fine with that. I don't care about another Ziggler versus McIntyre. It could be a 5-star classic. It could be the greatest wrestling match ever. I don't care. I don't. We all know the only person that should be facing McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam is Randy Orton. We all know that. I would have much rather not have McIntyre at all on WWE TV. And then until Randy Orton finished up what he did with Big Show tonight and then build towards Orton and McIntyre. After tonight, I've already been on the Randy Orton bandwagon, wanting to see Randy Orton win the WWE Championship. Because outside of Sasha Banks and Bayley, Orton's been the best thing on the main roster. But man, after what they did tonight, I love Drew McIntyre, but they made him look like a freaking retard. Honestly, McIntyre needs to drop that belt. And then maybe once we get live crowds again, you can build McIntyre back up and have him regain the WWE Championship and give him that big moment in front of a live audience that he didn't get to have at WrestleMania. But after tonight, man, no. I don't care what the stipulation is. Ziggler can be blindfolded, have his legs chopped off. I don't care what it is. Ziggler should not be getting another WWE Championship opportunity. I don't care. And they sealed the deal tonight. Randy Orton needs to become the WWE champion at SummerSlam. And then you build towards Randy Orton versus Edge in the third and final match of their story with Randy Orton and Edge for the WWE Championship. No matter if that's at Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania next year. I love Drew, but they fucked up. All right, getting into the main event tonight, we had the unsanctioned match between Randy Orton and Big Show. They, like I said, they booked and advertised this match all night long. Basically, everything they could remember, this match was supposed to be on Extreme Rules last night, but they saved this match for tonight on Raw to hopefully gain viewers. I don't know if they will, but we'll just have to wait and see for the ratings tomorrow. So, uh, excuse me. So the match started. Big Show was dominating early. Not surprised. Andrade and Angel Garza got involved, and they were attacking the Big Show. But then the Viking Raiders came down to even the odds, and then the Viking Raiders and Garza and Andrade brawl back into backstage. Show continues to take action. He was throwing around Orton with ease. He hit Orton with a pretty good looking spear. I'll say Big Show's spear is better than Charlotte's. Let's see how many Charlotte fans get mad about that in the comment section. Um, but Big Show hit a choke slam. Orton kicked out at 2.5. Big Show set up a table, and he went for a Vader bomb, but Randy Orton was able to get out of the way. And from there, Randy Orton dominated the match. Randy Orton hit Big Show with a beautiful looking RKO. Big Show kicked out at 2.5. But then Randy Orton took over. He hit him with chair shots. He hit him with a top rope DDT. Usually Orton does the middle rope DDT, but he decided to do a beautiful looking top rope DDT. He hit a second RKO on Big Show. Big Show uh, did a kick out of this one. Orton got the win. It was a decent main event. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know, Big Show actually did pretty well. But like I said, I don't want to see Big Show back on my television screen again after tonight. After the match, I know Ric Flair, they advertised Ric Flair to be there via ringside, but they didn't do that because Ric Flair announced that his wife has COVID-19. We don't know how, you know, hoping her the best. Especially, I know she's a little bit older, so hoping Ric Flair's wife is able to recover, make a speedy recovery. I hope Ric Flair stays safe. I don't want Ric Flair to get the virus, especially with all the health problems Ric Flair has had over the years. Uh, if he was to get COVID-19, especially from his wife, that would not be good. But this was a good match. Randy Orton hit the punt kick on Big Show, which was very predictable. So Big Show gets taken out via the punt kick. Like I said, we don't need to see Big Show on our television screens anymore. I shouldn't see Big Show again until he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. All right, please. Randy Orton celebrated after the match, and that's how Raw ended. There's only one way. There's only one place for Randy Orton to go. Orton versus McIntyre. Imagine a SummerSlam card with your three biggest matches. Four, you have The Fiend versus Braun Strowman for the Universal title on SmackDown. You have Orton versus McIntyre for the WWE Championship. You have Asuka versus Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. And you have Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. If we get those four matches at SummerSlam, I know we're not going to have a live crowd, but that's a really good. Just those four matches alone are enough for me to really like SummerSlam. I hope we get those four matches. Even though I don't care about The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, I just want to see The Fiend regain the Universal title. But Shayna and Asuka, Orton and McIntyre, and Sasha versus Bayley, take my money. All right, hopefully that's the direction we're going. But other than that, guys, that's about it. Monday Night Raw tonight, it wasn't a bad show. It's just the logic gaps. Just like Extreme Rules, the logic gaps hurt this show. Vince McMahon, clearly, man, somebody needs to get Vince McMahon out of creative. Please, I'm begging you guys. I am begging somebody. Get Vince McMahon out of being in charge, bro. It's just absolute nonsense with that guy every single week. But other than that, guys, it wasn't a terrible show, man. It wasn't terrible. Just the logic gaps are what gets me angry. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining me on the Legit Shoot podcast once again. Before you guys leave, do me three things. Three things. One, hit that like button before you guys leave. It helps me out a lot. If you guys enjoyed the podcast tonight, if you guys disagree with me, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, hit a like because it helps me out a lot. It gets more eyes on the podcast, and we need smart WWE fans these days because these casuals and Vince McMahon, they are idiots. Um, Number two, if you guys are new to the channel and you guys are watching the podcast for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Definitely, I got a lot of cool things coming for you guys. Plus, this podcast is one of the best in the IWC. So that if that doesn't give you a reason to subscribe, I don't know what will. But definitely, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe and hit the bell next to my name. Um, Three, if you guys haven't yet, follow me on Twitter. All right, that's the quickest way to get in contact with me if you guys want to talk WWE or anime or anything like that. And if you guys haven't checked out the Extreme Rules review, one of the best podcasts of the year, go check it out. It is live on the channel right now. Thank you guys for the love and support. It's been a very long weekend. We're gonna keep going strong. The road to SummerSlam will continue. Um, I don't know if I'll do an NXT review this week. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But most likely expect a SmackDown review near the end of the week. Probably maybe Saturday night. All right, hopefully, but we'll just have to wait and see. But other than that, guys, thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for joining me on the podcast tonight. Continue to stay safe and healthy. I love you guys. Thank you for all the love and support. Have a great night, guys. Peace.